This video is made for adult collectors because I have like a Blockies package full of NDA items that's supposed to be arriving, but it was supposed to arrive yesterday, then it's supposed to arrive today, now it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. UPS is basically just funneling it all around the world except for my house. It's so funny, it's been non-stop. Where's the Haslab video? Where's the Haslab video? Guess what? Here it is. It's here now, it's on the table, it's ready to go. I'm surprised none of that fell out of his hands. But yes, here it is. Let's talk about the idiot with posable cat ears. And Bumblebee's dead. This Haslab, it caused a lot of, well, people to go, when they first showed it to us. And I was also like, when I first saw it. But now, after having it for about a week, yeah, this is quickly becoming my favorite Haslab. It doesn't have any real widespread QC issues like these two, and unlike Deathsaurus, it has 6 separate figures. So that's 6 robots, 6 vehicles, and 6 puzzles. And then there's the chest guys. This thing does a lot. But let's disassemble him first and start with their robot modes, because that will flow better if we do it robot, vehicle, then combined mode, even though I know most of you just want to see the combined mode. Here it is. You've seen it. Now let's make them smaller. That is a team of chunky boys. Oh, and this guy's here too. Wait, before we go any further with this, yes, sponsor time. This video is sponsored by Toy Hacks. They take your figures that look like they need hella more paint and add so much more color to it. Like, look at Amalgamus. Not only that, they also have conversions. This most recent one for Smokescreen to turn him into Prowl, and okay, I will be doing that. I actually have 2 Smokescreens because this one has a bum door and this one is a fresh copy that works, but I'm going to convert the bum door one into Prowl, because I think that's so cool. The material is so much better than traditional Hasbro and Takara stickers. They stick well and they're made out of vinyl. You can check them out, linked in the description below. Thank you very much for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. I guess I'll just get Death Cobra out of the way, because honestly, I really don't like Death Cobra. Like, from the front, he looks fine, but once you turn him around and then, okay, there's just everything hanging off there. It's really cool that he got a figure finally after so many years. However, he does just show up in the show and then get blown away by this guy? He gets killed by his own buddy? Damn. Thank goodness he has heels, because his backpack weighs him down a lot. I mean, even with the heels though, he still does sometimes lean back. His chest can come off and become a tiny little Cobra Man. That's really fun, honestly. Reminds me a lot of like that base ramp snake thing from Earthrise. I'm forgetting the name. All right, the shit one out of the way. Let's get to the stuff I like. The stands. No, I'm kidding. The main 6 components. I have my favorites here, and honestly, I'm having trouble picking between which one I like out of these 3. But I guess let's start with the arm guys first. Hellbat and Skyhawk. Sorry, hang on. Elbat. They can't print hell on the box. I get it. But I do like these two, sharing a similar skeleton to Death Cobra, but without all the massive junk hanging off the back. Well, they do still have the wings hanging off the back, but nothing super heavy that makes them fall over. The only thing I don't like about these two are how small their heads are. They're microscopic, especially Skyhawk's. And when you grab the figures by the torso, there is a chance you could pop out the Breastmaster. I really like Skyhawk's loud pink colors though. They make him stand out in a crowd and work quite well with the rest of the team. And the blue on Hellbat is this deep and rich blue, making the bits of yellow pop. They are a bit chunky to move around, so posing them can be a wee bit of a chore, but I'll get to the articulation later. There's more figure to get through first. Stop rushing me. Both have partners, little animal guys that are flat flying creatures. One of them is upside down, I know. But they also become guns for the robots. I kind of wish they came with their own guns, but they can still hold the sticks that Liokaiser comes with. But I really want to move on to the tank guys. I will talk about plastic quality and stuff like that after we get through all the robots. Don't worry, hold your horses, get your popcorn or whatever snack you want, or not, I don't know. I really like this set of 2 robots in person. The initial photos made them look, well, like shit, but in person, oh, they're nice. Drillhorn though, that's not how you say his name. Drillhorn though is definitely the better of the 2. They are really chunky looking, and when you turn them around, they start to fall apart a bit on the visual side. However, surprisingly, they are still pretty articulated for being this rectangular. The blue on Drillhorn is actually a different shade from Hellbat, which I wasn't expecting. It's a little bit darker, and that darker color makes him feel a bit grungier than the rest, which makes sense for a guy who turns into a drill that goes into the ground. Kill Bison is weird. His colors and detail are fine. I have no issues there. It's the side profile to me. That is a lot of stuff here, more so than Drillhorn. The side sections on the arms and the massive turret. The turret is removable if you want that to be a gun he can hold. He is definitely the heftiest of the bunch too. He feels like he has the most weight, and he's solid. I mean, they're all solid. But now, let's get on to my 2 favorites. Ham and Cheese, I mean, Jaruga? Is that what they call him now? And Lyozak. It's so hard for me to pick a favorite of the two because I like them so much. I guess we'll start with Jaguar. I think he has the best silhouette to me. He's very generic car guy, but that's why I like it so much. And the charcoal black they chose works very well with the off-white and the bits of red. I like the missiles at the feet, but they can move around, and because they're on 5mm pegs and can literally go anywhere. I love the head sculpt. It's my favorite head sculpt out of the whole set. Again, it's a generic looking robot thing, but with the cat aspect to it, I think that's neat. He does have the ugliest gap when his buddy is removed, and he has no heels, but surprisingly, he stands quite well. I haven't had this guy fall over in any pose yet. And now we get on to Liokaiser. I love this shade of green. He is rather chunky and a bit disproportionate. The lower legs are really bulky and the arms are kind of skinny. It is to facilitate the shoulder ratchets in the legs because, you know, that's important for the combine mode. I do like all the details he's got, and because of his colors, I think the details pop the most here on him. His shoulders are entirely painted, which is kind of odd, but Haslab, so I guess you have the budget for that. He also has a bit of kibble throughout, and most of it is fine to me apart from the bits on the feet. The actual combined mode shoulders, I really wish they could fold inward. You know what? Writing about them has made me realize that I think Jaguar is my favorite. The plastic on all of these feels great. It's a Haslab, I'd expect that. They're all dense, their part walls are thick, their paint feels very durable. Honestly, having this, Omega, and Deathsaurus really makes Victory Saber feel like crap. They all have their chest dudes. You can pull them out and transform them into animals, which is pretty fun, though again, I wish they came with their own guns and didn't have to rely on the animals, because for some it looks fine, there's detail behind the chest, and for some others, it's like you've dropped a bowling ball in his chest. Good lord. You can store your lunch in there. This is an expensive made-to-order figure. I will not actually be putting food in there for this joke. I almost did, though. Size-wise, I know this bugged some people. They are like Deluxe Plus. They're the size of a Deluxe, but way denser, so if they were sold separately, they would probably be Voyagers at least. Selling them individually, though, that probably wouldn't have worked for this set. So a bit of boring time here before we make it into the vehicles. This is a set of extremely niche characters, and with them having to potentially be Voyagers, maybe even leaders if you added all the extra sticks and chains and stuff, that would appeal to us, but probably not retailers. That's the biggest thing. Hasbro needs to care a lot about retailers. They can get away with selling a wave with a niche character or two in it because the other characters in the wave can combat that. We can get a Jalopy because they threw him in with other figures. And they could very much do that here. They could shove these into a wave and call it a day, but I don't think the retailers like Walmart or Target or Toys R Us, or what actually Toys R Us is dying, would want to carry a set of 6 figures like this. It is 7 actually if you count Death Cobra over a year. However, if they were to put these at retailer, we probably wouldn't have even got Death Cobra and they wouldn't feel as nice. I wish these could be retail figures because then that means it's more ways for people to get it, but I also understand why it isn't. Okay, boring time's over. They pose pretty well. I was worried they would be missing things like ankles or wrists and waists, but nah, it's all there. Skyhawk and Hellbat are the same, so I'm just gonna do the pink bro. Skyhawk's head is on a ball joint. There is no tilt, but you get a huge amount of upward movement and rotation. The shoulders can go in and out a little bit, but if you bend this like scoop section down, the shoulders can go out all the way and then they rotate a full 360. He has bicep swivels and over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow and wrist swivels. Oh, one thing I forgot to talk about with the wrists. People were bothered by the gaps here because the wrists fold in and there's no panels to cover them. I usually wouldn't have an issue with this, but this is a Haslab. I think I would have hoped that they would have covered those up a bit. If you remove the breastmaster, the torso can ab crunch forward. He does have a waist joint. It's just a bit hindered by the backpack. The hips are universal, so they can go pretty much wherever you want. He's got thigh swivels, knees that bend just under 90 degrees, and toe pivot. They all do the toe pivot thing. Oh, and Death Cobra is the same as the arm guys. Before we get onto the leg guys real quick, I was just handed this. This arrived. Ooh, I'm so excited. I know what's in here. Yeah, wow, the box is a lot bigger than I thought. He's here. This is my first ever Figma. This is going to be an interesting experience. The leg dudes are a wee bit strange. The heads are on ball joints again with no tilt, but pretty good upward range and rotation. The shoulders are weird because they pivot so high up on their axis for some reason. It looks a wee bit off, but they can rotate, so that's nice. Standard bicep swivel and 90-degree bend at the elbows. Regular wrist swivels as opposed to balls on the jet. Balls. There is a waist joint. Hips are universal, so they can also go anywhere, which is surprising given these guys' stature. They do have thigh swivels and then slightly under 90-degree bend at the knee. That doesn't really accomplish a lot because of how chunky the lower legs are. There is toe tilt this time and toe pivot. Jaguar is pretty much the same, but with a bit more range in places, especially in the knees, a much cleaner waist joint, and actual ankle tilts as opposed to toe tilts. And then there's Liokaiser, who as you guessed it, shares the same articulation as the rest of the jet guys. I'm not going to repeat myself a third or fourth time on the joints because that's really boring for you to listen to, but yeah, he does pretty much all the same stuff. Though now he also has articulated wings that can fold in and out and flap. They don't look superposable, but they are kind of like sleeper builds when it comes to articulation, though they aren't gonna do anything super fancy. They come with stands that can also store all of the accessories in there and you can mount the figures on it, but that's mainly for the jet and combine mode. So let's just get into those alternate modes. Okay, there's a lot of transforming to do. So I'm going to do Skyhawk. I'm not going to do Hellbat because they're exactly the same, and I'm going to do Drillhorn, and then I'll just talk about the small differences with Kill Bison, but I'm not going to go through his entire transformation because that'll take forever. Oh, he fell over. Forever. So I guess we'll start with Skyhawk first. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend the toes down, and then the legs have to be done in a very, very specific way. You have to fold the one with the flap up first, because if you fold this one up first, you're not going to be able to open this flap, and it's going to be annoying. So you open the flap up, and then you Combiner Wars the leg in like this, and then close that up like so. Then you can bring the other leg up, which has the hand in it. Shimmy that up. It can be a little bit difficult at first to get these up because they're really tight. Then you want to bend at the ab crunch. That's going to fall off. And then clip this together and take the combined hand and fold it in. That's the boosters of the plane. Then you bring this down and it will clip everything into place. Let's just put his chest back on. We're going to take the head and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. Then you want to take this cockpit section, fold it down, fold up the wrists, peg the arms together, and then peg the wings into the arms and get that front landing gear down and the tail fins. And that is your jet. And again, this guy, same exact transformation, except you don't have to fold out back wings here. You fold up these two tail fins and they peg together to form one fin at the back as opposed to two. These guys are really interesting in how they work, just because they don't shrink that much, but they just still compact. It's hard to describe, but you want to fold the toes up. Then you want to make sure the wrists are folded this way. If you don't fold the wrists this way, they will pop out when you transform it because they have to peg into here. And I kept forgetting to do that at first. I'm like, why do the hands keep popping out? It's because I'm stupid. So you peg the legs together. Then you bring these panels out and then you open up this. Then you want to make sure that the hands or the arms are pegged into the side of the hips. And then you want to shift this down and compress it and click it into place and get all of this squeezed together. Then fold these back bits down so that they're sitting flat. Bring these treads around and then fold the drill over that. And there you have Drillhorn. That's super fun to do. I love this drill tank so much. Kill Bison is similar, except this time you have to make sure you fold these down. And it's probably best if you take the turret off, because you have to open this panel up. But before you do that, you have to push the head back first, then open this up, then fold this in, and then that gets into place. Then you can put the turret back on, because this door won't open without the turret, but everything else is exactly the same. You'd think this idiot would be exactly the same as the jets, but no, he's almost completely different, even though it's like the same base design. So you want to take this off because it has to peg into somewhere else. You take the head and you just push it back into here. You remove the propellers and you bring this entire cockpit section forward and it will tab into place there. You fold up the hands, bring them to the side, and that's kind of where the similarities end. Well, no, that's not kind of where the similarities end. There's still some stuff in the legs, but you want to fold this forward, rotate the waist 180 degrees, and bring it back. Then you want to fold the heels in. So this one will fold in all the way. This one won't fold in all the way unless you bring the hand out. Then it folds in, and then you put the hand back into place. Fold the toes down, peg the legs together, and there are these little splits right here. You want to bend them at those joints and bring them around so that they then peg into the middle of the torso, and the arms will peg into the legs. There's like little soft pegs that go in that don't like staying in. Then you fold that down. You want to bring the tail fin to the back and it will peg in. Bring the tail fins out there. Fold out the propeller, peg it into the top, and then put this guy into the new peg in the cockpit section. And that's, almost called him Skyhawk, and that's Death Cobra. Now we get on to the really fun ones. We'll do the jet first. So, he fell. Leozak, you want to peg the legs together, rotate the feet down and then around so that they sit flush. Then you bring these sections back, and I like to rotate them this way just because I think that looks the nicest. But once you have that done, you want to peg the hip skirts into the legs and then peg the legs into the knees, and that'll hold everything together, and it's pretty solid. Then we're going to fold these down. We're going to bring the cockpit forward. You want to rotate the head 180 degrees, open these panels up in the nose cone, and that will fold over the head and just sort of hide it. Then you want to bring the hands in on both sides, and these will peg into the back, like right here. Then you want to bring this panel and open it up and fold it over. You want to take the green part of the tail fins and fold them up while leaving the white parts down. And then you just take these wings and shift them to the back. Then we'll fold out the landing gear, and that's his jet. I love that. And then finally, the easiest guy. We're not going to take the missiles off. We're going to leave them there. So you fold up the feet, peg the legs together, rotate the missiles forward. Then we want to fold up the hands and rotate them 180 degrees. You want to take the robot head, rotate it 180 degrees, bring this section down. You want to fold this up at the knee, and it's going to peg into the top here, like that. You peg the arms into the side and just point the missiles forward a bit more. And that's it. I love doing that. It's so much fun to do that back and forth. They are a lot of fun to transform, actually. There's nothing enormously complicated or annoying to peg in. They move in solid chunks, and I appreciate that. That's a nice, robust set of vehicles. And Death Cobra. Again, this figure just doesn't look the greatest. He's all leg down here, and it just doesn't... It's not nice. Everything else about him is fine. It's just the underside. The other alt modes though, damn, they're very nice. When I first opened the box, I was surprised at how large they were. They came like this, and they look like large deluxe to Voyager sized jets. And I love how they have like a theme here. 3 jets, 2 tanks, and a car. Okay, he doesn't make that much sense, but you know what? Screw it. I think he's my favorite of the set, so he gets to keep his out of place Road Caesar looking alt mode. But I think out of the entire set, my favorite vehicle specifically is Drillhorn. Jaguar is still my favorite figure overall, but Drillhorn's my favorite vehicle. Something about the shaping and how it feels in the hand. Not to mention, I think drill tanks are just cool. I like this a lot. Leozak can move his wings forward and back, and Kill Bison can rotate his turret and go up and down and look ugly. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the tank mode. I wish the turret sat just a bit closer to the body of the vehicle. If it did that, then I would have no issues here, honestly. The jets all look fine. They do have some undercarriage going on and no rear landing gear relying on the feet, but they do look nice. I like how thick the wings feel and how chunky and solid the jets are. And then Jaguar here can hook the shorts up to the back and look even more out of place next to the rest of them, but hey, they painted the missiles on the inside. It is a nice set of vehicles. I know everyone just wants me to get onto the combined mode though, so let's just go do that. It currently feels like 31 degrees Celsius outside. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. You can convert it yourself. But it's hot in this room because it's the temperature of that. I'm on the 2nd floor and I have that, and that in this room blasting me with heat because they're not LEDs. It's really hot in this room. So combining these, you might as well start in the vehicle modes because that's the easiest way to do it. Except for Leozak, he should be in robot mode, but we're just gonna leave him for now. I guess the first thing we'll do is the legs. So again, I'll just show you one because they're both the same. Drillhorn's been taking the spotlight when it comes to the legs, so we'll do Kill Bison. So you want to fold these panels out, right? That's going to be the feet. And there you go, done. No, I'm kidding. You want to rotate the turret like up, but we're going to take it off because you do need to open this panel. You also need to remove the animal, just for now. You take him off and open this up. Then you want to fold this section out, and then it's going to peg, oops, without flipping the head up, peg back into place. I can't get it lined up because I can't see. Then we plug the animal back in, get the aminal, bend the ratchet down 2 clicks, plug this in, and there you have a leg done. And Drillhorn is essentially the same, except you don't have to take the turret off because it doesn't have a turret. The arm guys will do Hellbat here. So what I like to do, you don't have to do this, but what I like to do is I like to fold these in because then it means they don't stick out as much out here with the hand is deployed. Fold the hand out and you rotate it 180 degrees because the arm's gonna sit like this. On the arm guys, you do have to take the animals off and they don't stay in the chest because this is where the shoulder ratchet is. So you fold the landing gear up, then you want to take this section and bring it out. You want to fold up the wings and then bring the entire lower body down like that. Bend the elbow there. Fold these pieces up. Then you want to take the head, fold it in to the cockpit area, and that's going to flip out the combiner port. And now we can peg the cockpit in. And then the animals, what I like to do is just plug them in back here on the other side of the arm. But there's your arm all done. Now we get onto the lower torso. So you want to take these guns off. They are going to be extremely important in combined mode, so do not lose these. But you take these legs and you bring them down, and there's this little sliding rail right here. So you want to unpeg the arms and just bring them forward like that, and then fold this up so he's like a chair now, and he's ready to go. Make sure you have the head rotated 180 degrees, otherwise he's just going to be staring back at you. Then we bring in the jet. Fold up the what's that called? Landing gear. How did I forget that? Fold up the landing gear, bring the arms out, take the chest guy off, then you want to fold up the wings. You want to collapse the tail fins, but leave them like this because these pegs have to go somewhere. You bring these panels in like that. You want to then take this nose cone section, bring it down, close that up, and then take this entire backpack assembly and shift it down. Then you want to open this panel back here, rotate the head, close this all up. Then you want to, well, before you close this up, you rotate the waist. I always forget to do that. That's just a me thing. That's not the toy's fault. Then you unpeg the hip skirts and bring these legs up, and they are going to bend without unpegging, hopefully, and peg into the back there. Then you want to take the feet and flip them out and get the shoulders down. Now you can take these tail fins and peg them into place into the torso, but we're gonna leave all of this out. So that's every single component ready to go. Well, actually, hang on. Where did Death Cobra go? Yeah, it's not, whatever. So now let's get them attached. So you take the hips here, you wanna make sure the wheels are at the side and bring them down. Just gonna spread them out by one click. You have to make sure the knees are bent, otherwise this won't fit. It'll just be annoying. So you get that slid in all Combiner Wars like. They don't fit Combiner Wars pegs, nor do they fit Superion pegs. So, you know, that kind of sucks. But there's the legs. Now, here comes the cool locking bits. So, Jaguar here slides in the sliding rail, right? And by the way, the missiles are recessed in, so they're not gonna scratch off with this. So you don't have to worry about that. You make sure it's all the way forward till it clicks. So it clicks into place. And then you take Leozak and you plug him in here, then he's gonna clip into the back here and at the top. So you get all that squeezed together. Then the arms are gonna come in and peg into the legs. I think I missed, no, I didn't miss. And then these are gonna come in and peg into the bottom. And then this is gonna come in and hold the hip flaps into place. There's so much like structure here. And then the best part, remember how I said the missiles were really important? So right here you have the pegs that they were in the feet for robot mode. And then these little stoppers. So when you plug this into here, which is very satisfying to do this, by the way, they are now plugged into Jaguar, but also into the stoppers. So it is not gonna go anywhere. I love that. They really thought through how this would stay in place without falling apart, and I think they did a really good job. And the arms are just simply drop them on to what were once the foot pegs of Leozak. And there you go. Now we're gonna quickly just fold all this. Whoops. Before you fold all that down, you want to fold up the little shoulder bits on Pink Guy Hawk. We're going to fold all of this down because our green idiot friend pegs in to the cockpit and the wing to be and gun. And then he can go wherever you want. I like that you can mount Death Cobra on the shoulder, but I also think that looks a bit jank. So here you go. Now I'm gonna take it off. I absolutely love the way this looks. Those pictures did not do this justice. In hand, it is so much better. The proportions are almost just right for me. He does have a bit of a backpack, but the way the legs are built all sideways like, it doesn't actually stick out and it feels flush. Oh, and here he is next to the original. This is my buddy, my friend Dan, who has the original, who took these photos for me, which, you know, thank you very much. But yes, there he is next to the original. And then here he is next to the Combiner Wars one. Yes, I drove all the way to Comic Alley Toys, not sponsored, to get these. They also had this Poop Devastator, which is going in this bin to be forgotten about forever. Now, he does have a waist joint. There were a bunch of people I talked to who were like, it's a shame he doesn't have a waist joint. He does. It's kind of hidden, but it's there under the crotch flap. The crotch flap being one solid piece though, and I don't like that. That's kind of annoying. The hips do kind of get in the way of the waist joint somewhat, just because of all the details on top of the hips. They painted the bottom of the blue feet, which at first I was upset about because I'm like, that's gonna scratch off. Why would you do that? But they recessed the pieces slightly. So the outside of the boot touches the ground and not the inside. And okay, that's smart. Do that more, please. Death Cobra can become an arm too, and okay, now that actually looks nice. I found a mode I like Death Cobra in. Next to the other combiners, I like the way this looks. I'm glad he scales with them. Kind of makes me wish Monstructor and Dino King were large, but eh. His sticks can all combine into a massive nunchuck or several smaller ones, and he can articulate pretty well for a combiner, so that mixed with the sticks, you can get some pretty aura-filled shots. The head is on a universal joint, so it can rotate and go up and down, and yes, articulated cat ears. This is so they can fold in and fit in storage, but they are posable, and that's pretty cool. The shoulders can rotate inside the torso, and they can go in and out on both the shoulders themselves and the rotation joint, so the arm can go all the way up. The wings also fold forward to move out of the way for the shoulders. He does have bicep swivels and ratcheted elbows. The ratchets feel really nice here. He does also have wrist swivels and articulated hands to boot. The aforementioned waist joint. Hips can ratchet forward and back, and when you move the side skirt wheels out of the way, you can get a full splits. There are thigh swivels, which I kind of wish were ratcheted. The knees don't bend 90 degrees, which is like really the only thing that I don't like other than the hip waist thing. And then the ankle tilts and toe tilts. I do have a couple of gripes, but he's about as articulated as the other combiners, so he fits and he feels way better than the rest of them. Again, the Haslab plastic. And he can stand on the, well, stand, but my stand does have an issue. This connector here, I don't know what's up with mine, but it is so stiff that I stressed it a bit. I'll customer service it, but it seems to be just a me issue. I haven't seen anyone else talk about this, so yeah, other than that little problem, there's nothing horrible QC-wise on this, unlike Omega Prime. This genuinely might be my favorite Transformers Haslab they've done because of how much they did and how nice it feels. There's so much going on that it's lived on my desk ever since I got it, and I never get bored with it. Not to mention everything is solid and sturdy and stable. Wow, that's a lot of S's. I think we all were a bit harsh on this when we first got it shown to us. Those digital renders really don't do this thing justice. It's very nice to have in hand. Let's just hope the next Haslab runs like this. It's a Mark Haslab next. The last 4 have been Evan, so I'm very curious. I like it a lot. If you missed out on this and want one, don't pay too much over retail, but I would still recommend it because it is a lot of fun. Death Cobra kind of sucks though. But that's my look at Haslab Liokaiser. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.